I am so grateful for our friends at Blue Microphones. Not only have they completely changed what our show sounds like, they've given me headphones so I can monitor things better. This is the mic for millions of creative people, and now I know why. I'm so grateful for them completely changing the quality of our audio. You'll find Blue mics like Yeti and the Mouse, which we're using here, both in pro studios and home studios, literally all over the world. Their popular Yeti caster is a Blue Yeti microphone, plus a boom arm system that's behind many of your favorite podcasts. I run into them all the time, and now I know why. If you've ever thought about creating your own podcast or YouTube channel, Blue can make you sound and look great. Just visit bluemic.com and click Get Started, and you can start telling your story.
Our laws as it pertains to substances are draconian and bizarre. The psychopaths start this way. He was an alcoholic because of social media and pornography, PTSD, love addiction, fentanyl and heroin. Ridiculous. I'm a doctor, for sake. Where the hell do you think I learned that? I'm just saying, you go to treatment before you kill people. I am a clinician. I observe things about these chemicals. Let's just deal with what's real. We used to get these calls on Loveline all the time. Educate adolescents and to prevent and to treat. If you have trouble you can't stop and you want help stop it, I can help. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more to say.
Welcome, everyone. We are taking calls. Of course, to my left is the great Jason Ellis, who's back to give us an update on the progress in his digital project. Before you and I welcome, yeah, well done, man. Now with the, it's been great.
No, I know you said the great.
You're the great Jason Ellis.
Letting that ring in there.
Yeah, that's how I think of you. But before Jason and I get into it, we have a special guest who agreed to stop by just for a couple of minutes, and I want to pick his brain about what happened yesterday here in Los Angeles. What is the gentleman who is often called the high-profile attorney? I just know him as my friend from high school, Mark Geragos.
There is for those of us who don't know, or those of your viewers who don't know, we have known each other since high school and on rival football teams, and ironically now his oldest son by 2 minutes and my only son, Jake, are fast friends. And I was just teasing you, Drew, off the air. I've had more dinners with your son since quarantine than I have with you.
All I can say is that's first of all, that's wisdom on your part, number one, and B, wisdom on his part too. I mean, he has tremendous respect and enthusiasm for you, so he can't get enough. Sorry about that if that's an issue.
Yeah, see, that kid is. I'm going to tell you to anybody, Drew will be eclipsed, and happily so, by Douglas in the near future. Trust me.
So speaking of being eclipsed, yesterday I was texting you when I started hearing the reports out of the courtroom of what was happening. What we have here in Los Angeles, let me just sort of frame it, and you tell me if I got the framing proper, is we have an out-of-control LA County Board of Supervisors. We have a county Department of Department of Health that is led by people who are not clinicians and make capricious, arbitrary decisions, literally will say things like, we have to do something, so we just did X. And one of those X things was to close outdoor dining, for which there is, and I do a Fox 11 program. Some of our viewers know this locally here in Los Angeles. And every night on that show, I say, show me one publication, just give me one publication that will show me the evidence basis for your decision. Just one. I'll read it. I'll turn around if you give me that evidence. Of course, there is no such thing. In fact, quite the opposite.
Well, you know what happened is, so we went in. I own a number of restaurants, and I frequent restaurants all the time. I eat out all the time, and I know most restaurateurs. It's one of the toughest businesses in the world. The small margins, you're constantly having to be on premises, and it's just a tough business. But if it's something you love, you do it. And speaking of sons, I've got a son who's a chef as well. And so I tried mightily to talk to somebody to get them to rethink this, because as Drew says, there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever. Then I watched or read the Catherine Barger, who's one of our Board of Supervisors, and Janice Hahn, who's another one, do questioning of Barbara Farrar, who's our county health officer, and one other health officer. And it was astonishing to me how they just couldn't answer simple questions like, okay, where's the data? Point me to a study. There's many of them. Well, where? Oh, it's the CDC and blah, blah, blah. Well, they vote anyway, split vote, 3-2. Mark Ridley Thomas, by the way, coward that he is, votes to shut down dining, outdoor dining, and then promptly resigns from the Board of Supervisors because he was termed out to become a city councilman. Sheila Kuehl, who talked at the meeting, this is another Board of Supervisor. You remember her, if you're my vintage, from Dobie Gillis. She should have stayed on that show. But she talked about, this is an awful thing. This dining is horrific. It's the transmission. She votes to close down outdoor dining, gets into her car, or is driven in a county car straight to a restaurant in Santa Monica to go eat. Yeah. Then she's been repeatedly this week to show us some of the studies. She can't show you a study. So I ended up suing the county. The California Restaurant Association also did. We had our hearings combined. 3 times this judge in the Superior Court told the county, look, I don't see enough evidence. I'm going to give you till such and such a day to show me the evidence. Last Tuesday, he told him you've got till Friday afternoon at 4:30. Show me the evidence. Well, Friday afternoon at 4:30, they filed paperwork which on its best day was insulting to the judge and demeaning, and basically said, don't talk to us about evidence. Anytime that somebody communicates with another person, they're at risk of coronavirus, and that's the end of that. We don't want to talk about it. Basically, wow. And cited, Drew, the one fact that they cited was the apocryphal story that you and I have talked about, the 27-year-old who self-reported in Wuhan that he had somehow contracted the virus outdoors. That was what their study was.
Right,
the
one
CDC
case.
Study, one case. The CDC study was, when you go to it, it was no distinction between indoor and outdoor.
Right.
So we go crazy. The judge yesterday afternoon issues a 53-page opinion, which he says, before the hearing, I want you to read this. This is my thinking. So he basically dismantles the county's arguments and all of these declarations. Somebody goes to Dr. Ghali, and they tell Dr. Ghali this, some intrepid reporter. Dr. Ghali, who's the head of Health and Human Services, says this, quote, outdoor dining may not be that risky per se. The decision to include, among other sectors, outdoor dining and limiting that really has to do with the goal of trying to keep people at home, not a comment on the relative safety of outdoor dining.
Right. There you go. That's it.
I mean, there you go.
That's
all you needed. So
it's over. And by the way, they reversed the playground decision today too. They backed off playgrounds.
Yeah, exactly. They backed off.
Yeah, it's an insane recommendation that they close the playgrounds down. These are the sane, incompetent. Let's call them what they are. They're incompetent. They closed down beaches, closed down hiking trails, had us hiding under our sheets for 2 months. This is, let's call it what it is. It's incompetence. I'm sorry. These are not good decisions. They're incompetent decisions, and they don't seem to have a reverse gear, as your buddy Carolla would say. And by the way, if you want to see more Mark Geragos, Reasonable Doubt, he's got a pod with Adam Carolla. You can follow Mark at Mark Geragos, Geragos. Is it Mark _Geragos or just Mark Geragos?
Just Mark Geragos. There you go.
And then
Adam, I don't think Adam likes that. Does he like that picture or not? I don't know.
We love that picture. It really does capture the flavor of what goes on in that pod. Except when you guys were on a live show. I saw the aftermath of that. I won't go into that right now. But if people would like to...
I need my own personal addiction specialist to travel with me when I was
watching carefully. But you can support Mark's restaurants. He has Engine Company number 28 and 10E, the number 10 followed by the letter E, 10erestaurant.com for delivery, Grubhub, DoorDash, all that. Please, we've been running around supporting every restaurant we can support at least twice a day because we just feel horrible, not just for the restaurant owners, but all the staff that's been laid off. They seem to make these capricious, incompetent decisions that affect hundreds of thousands of lives. What's that, Mark?
And they don't think of any. There is no forward thinking. The idea that somehow if you ban outdoor dining, that's going to help people or keep people at home. Well, yeah, but what it's going to do is drive people to go to houses and be indoors as opposed to outdoors. And all of the science and data on this, and I've been immersed in it, in suing, because I've sued the governor, sued the county, we've sued. I mean, all I've done during the pandemic is sue and see this idiocy. And I'm hoping that the tide is turning. I mean, the U.S. Supreme Court came out and said, even during the times of a pandemic, the Constitution does not go on sabbatical. That was 10 days ago. This Judge Chalfant, wrote a masterful opinion that basically said public health, by definition and by statute, you have to balance. You balance risk. That's what public health is. This isn't save a patient at all costs.
Right. That's exactly right.
Balance of risk. And nobody in the...
Uh-oh.
Go on.
You're froze there a little bit. Nobody in the what? Froze again.
I said no sphere. Yeah.
Go ahead. We got you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look, at least making informed decisions seems to understand it. And part of the problem, this is all messaging. It's kind of a scare tactic in order to get people to do, and they keep
well, this is going to be
lies.
Yeah, they lie. That's right. Do you want to try to bring him back in on Zoom, or?
Yeah, it's a cell phone.
It's a cell phone. Okay.
It'll pop back.
Well,
It'll probably pop back.
once he
I
has
have a
little-
question though, Drew.
Yes.
Once he comes back
Yes.
into his space, what the timeline is like as far as suing the government and opening up again.
Well, that's an interesting question, but let me ask one quick thing first. Just sort of a rhetorical statement, which is, where'd Mark go?
He's rebooting.
Okay, he's rebooting. Does this interest you at all? This stuff's interesting to me. Because so many lives are upended by this. I know you're real laser focused on getting your thing together.
It's funny when you talk. I know it makes me realize how much I don't care about anything except the Jason Ellis show being successful.
Which is good. We admire that. We want to help you with that.
Of the Trump or any I don't know anything about anything anymore. I got one thing on my mind. But yeah, hearing that, because I have a co-host who I saw today who I had to get a test before we saw each other because he's really freaked out.
Oh, geez.
And there's no way he would frown upon me if he knew that
that you were here.
If I went dining.
And
Okay.
how old a person?
He's 34.
We're talking about Tully?
No, Kevin's far worse. Kevin said he has a sister that works in the medical world. She's a nurse in New Jersey, and said that there's new tests coming out that you get permanent brain damage from having COVID.
No, very unusual. Yes, there is stuff like that happening. It happens from any severe illness. Let's be fair.
I'm not a doctor, and I didn't have that rebuttal. I just sort of said, "Look, but we're not going to have a job."
And not only that, the people that are getting these longer term consequences, and there are other long haulers, and some of them are young, but the people that are at risk are the people that are at risk. The people that are in the risk categories, elderly, and they often step down cognitively after a bad illness. That happens a lot. Now, sometimes they recover, sometimes they don't. It's all over the place. But to lay that at the feet of COVID right now is a huge mistake. 14 million people have had this goddamn thing. See, are there 14 million people, brain damaged people out there? No, there are not.
I'm just saying, I would say he's a little bit paranoid, but he's still what I would consider a level-headed human being who's come to this conclusion. And then Michael, who I would say is a pretty well-educated person, pretty sensible, who also says, look, if they're finding out tests where there's permanent brain damage, who knows? Who's to say that they don't do more tests down the road saying that there's more damage to be had from it? And I thought to myself, It's hard for me because I'm a natural born white trash person. Like I live in California. I'm a bisexual man, so obviously I'm a bit of a libtard because I got to stick up for my side, and my side's a minority. But I am a gun toting, beer drinking, show me your boobs kind of guy. So there's that part where when I was in Havasu the other day, there was some people on the boat that were helping us do the event. And they didn't have masks on, and I shook their hands because it's disrespectful not to do that if someone's going to work with you. And I could tell some of the other people were like, "Whoa, you're going to shake their hands?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I just feel like if there was a way around it, I would gladly help. But we've got to exist. We can't just give up and hide.
For a couple of things,
you'll go crazy.
You can fantasize all you want about we may find out who knows what the hell. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and fantasize about what we might find out about the vaccine or find out about the virus. The evidence does not suggest anything. Anything like that. Nothing like that. So, yes, I know what they're talking about in terms of these brain damage cases. Yeah. Believe me, that is a million miles from a concern.
I wish I could have said that, but I didn't have your research.
What you must know somebody who's had this condition, right? You know somebody who's had it.
Yeah, Brendan Schaub had it.
How bad was that for him?
I think he got over it in 3 days.
Right. That's a typical case.
So that's what I said to him. I think that my rebuttal was, does Brendan Schaub have permanent brain damage? And he said no.
He had it to start with.
To other people.
Oh no.
It's like because he does. If people, that's the thing is. I noticed is people are telling him that a lot.
And here's the deal.
If it's not true, then it really sucks that people are telling.
Well,
because they're scaring the shit out of innocent people.
They're scaring the shit out of them. That's not good. But they're also narcissism is writ loud now. So we say 1% of people have trouble with this thing, that's going to be me. That's narcissism.
Okay.
That's narcissism, flat out. Because
cool.
I have a 90% probability of cure of my prostate cancer after surgery. I consider that cured, 90% with a 10% risk.
Yeah.
99%, I wouldn't even. That's 100%.
Yeah.
And so if you get sick, you have a 1% probability of trouble. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, period. Now it's saying the real problem, and this is what you have to, here's the problem. They didn't even know why they're trying to scare you. The reason they're trying to scare you is they don't want you transmitting it to 3 other people. You understand? They don't want it going through you to a bunch of other people and eventually getting to grandma. That's the concern here. That it has to be stopped somewhere. You got it?
People aren't listening. You know that, right?
Oh.
I mean, there's people, because I have both sides. I have one person who won't come over unless he wears a gas mask, and then another person who I see her Instagram, and she's
out living her life.
Nothing has changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, she
actually got coronavirus 3 days ago.
All right, and there you go, and then she'll be fine, right?
Yes, there's a good point.
Your grandma?
She would definitely text me if she was dying.
Your grandmother?
No, a friend of mine.
So again, let's be super clear. I'm not saying you should be cavalier. I'm saying the reason it has to stop, the transmission has to stop because we're on this parabolic curve right now, and it's all of our responsibilities to stop it, right in its tracks. But not to fear that we're going to be a long hauler, end up on a ventilator. Those are irrational fears. It happens in a tiny percentage of cases, and the press, unfortunately, seeks those out and throws them on the television. Everyone else is fine.
Because I think, is it not the same for the flu and that stuff? Like if older
flu?
people get the flu, do they not go on ventilators?
Yes, that in fact happens.
But the
hospitals get full this time of year because of seasonal infections like this. But it's worse. It's worse now, let's be fair. It's worse, and when it's bad, it's really bad.
Well, we don't have vaccination. So.
What's that, Susan?
We don't have a vaccination yet, so that will help.
We have vaccination, but we have another.
No, for the flu we have it, but we don't for this one.
We have it for this. They just have to distribute it.
Oh.
And so the problem now is, I don't want to be such a downer today.
They don't have enough.
They're showing a similar level of incompetence in terms of their distribution plans.
Isn't that kind of like big business? Like the bigger the business, the more corporate gets involved, and then it slows down the actual business of what they were doing. Is the government not the biggest business in the world?
And
it's kind of like a really shitty post office.
And they have these weird ideological and political priorities that aren't about medicine.
Yeah.
And it really is screwing things up.
Yeah, because people make more money and we get shafted.
I today was meeting with some peers about what the rollout was going to be, who would get the vaccine, because we're technically in 1A as healthcare. I saw a bunch of patients this morning. I should be getting the vaccine, right? And we all looked at each other. We had, like, California's getting less vaccine than they thought. LA County supervisor wants it to be done through the schools. The hospitals don't know what they're getting. It's a shit show. It is a shit show. And we're all looking at each other going, hey, Dr. Smith, who works in the ICU, she should get it right away. And how does she get it?
Yeah.
And we don't even know that. So, I'm angry about it. But tell me about the Jason Ellis podcast and show. Tell us all about it.
I did one this morning.
Yes.
The first one ever. So the boys were there, and we recorded it in a video, and the studio has got finished. The last piece of art was put in the room last night, wet. That's how much of a rush that I have on everybody doing everything.
It looked pretty good. I saw it.
It's the best studio I've ever in
Where
my
is it?
career.
Where is it?
It's in my house.
Oh, it's good. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm looking,
copied a guy I know.
I'm looking at your YouTube. I'm looking at your YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Is the studio here? I don't see it on YouTube.
I don't know if it would be up there.
Yeah, not yet.
I
Not
did when the studio finally got fixed last night and we had audio, I did a test run where I didn't tell anybody. I just went on there and people started sending me money.
Tell them about
I did not know that you could do that. I was unaware that you could.
You became a cam
I felt
performer.
like a cam girl because
Yeah.
I did watch my wife once do camming when she did it, and there's like it makes a sound. It's like a ba-ding, and you know that they sent you a donation. So I was doing telling people that the new show is going to get filmed tomorrow, and don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, ba-ding, I'm like, wait, what's going on here? And then I think people thought it was weird that I thought it was weird, so then they started sending me money to make it even weirder. And then I got out of there because I felt like I should show them my undercarriage. It was escalating. It was getting up to some proper money, and I'm like, man, I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just going to get off.
What was the?
I did it again, didn't I?
What was the parable in the movie series on Netflix, Mank? The organ grinder monkey, the parable of the organ grinder monkey.
It's what I felt like. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
that's
felt
what
like
that-
I was being used like
Yep.
some kind of piece of meat.
Yep,
Yeah.
there you go. And you were happy to do so.
But apparently that's like being in the podcast world, so I guess I better get used to it.
So I'm getting a little confused.
You should, because I had an old podcast, and when
Yeah.
you type in Awesome World, it shows Ellistronics or High and Dry. It's a complete mess.
Yeah. So what do we do here?
Well, that is my side thing where that's my show by myself. The
Awesome
Jason
World.
Ellis show.
Awesome World.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
So
Awesome
that's still
World,
going. Awesome World's still going.
I invented Awesome World, I think, the day I came here.
Yeah.
Because someone said, you have to talk to people. And I was like, I don't have a show. And they're like, just make a new one and tell people what's going on.
I bet you were. I see that it's on Stitcher. They'll get some action there. I bet.
It made it into the top 50 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Well done. Well done.
But
All right. That's Awesome World. That's one pot. What's the other?
Awesome World, and then there's I'm doing Wolf and the Hawk. We haven't had the name yet, but it's either Wolf Hawk or Wolf and the Hawk. It's Tony Hawk and I are doing a podcast, so I'll be driving down there once a week to do a show with him. And then there's the Jason Ellis show, which we filmed today. The first time we've ever filmed one from start to finish. The first time ever the board goes through the audio, through the video, where I can be Bindi and you can see my face live at the same time. All these things that I've been asking for 15 years happened this morning. Wow. And then it goes to these podcast people, the people that I'm in business with, the people that deliver the podcast are the same people that deliver Fighter and the Kid and all that stuff. And I know people are asking me about, make sure you own it. I appreciate, I do. I'm working with these guys. They are the podcast company that's going to bring my stuff to you guys. But I own it. So I appreciate everybody's concerns. I made sure I got that. So I've got, I don't know if you know this, Dr. Drew, but I have maybe 20 to 35 attorneys that are working for me around the clock right now on Instagram.
I hope not.
I've got, no, I'm just saying the amount of people that have tried to help me.
Oh, I see. You mean they have volunteered to help you? Oh,
everybody's
good.
trying
Good.
to help
That's
me.
good. That's great.
But there's a real, do you know who Kevin Undergaro is?
I know the name.
Yeah, because he is.
Why do we know Kevin? Kevin's from what's her name?
AfterBuzz.
Yeah,
he's,
With
Maria.
Maria Menudo.
Maria.
Yeah, he's Maria's husband. He reached out to me when
Yeah,
I think
he's
I
got
did.
his own TV
He knows what he's
network
doing.
too, right?
He knows what he's doing.
He said, fly this guy out and he'll build your studio. And I flew a guy out and he's been at my house for the last 5 days.
Oh my gosh!
And my studio is completely built.
I'm so happy for you.
And it looks amazing, and the audio and video. The guy that's
so
here, Steve, taught my wife how to. My wife is now like behind in the other
Engineer.
room.
Like
She's
she's doing what
you guys
Susan's
are
doing.
We're doing
Yeah.
what. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
We're
this is
doing
the
what you
best.
guys are doing.
It's the best. It's the best. I love it. So a couple questions. Very specifically, where do people go to subscribe?
Right.
Yeah.
So the podcast isn't out yet.
Okay. Where will people go to subscribe?
Everywhere.
No. Give them like subscribe at Caleb. What do we need here to?
Is it going to your YouTube channel?
It'll be on YouTube, and it'll be in everything that Cast does. So
normal
it'll just go out into
When can we look for it?
I can't give that.
normal podcast.
Approximately.
They said they're gonna in 2 weeks.
So keep an eye out for the next 2 weeks for it.
Yeah, for now,
yeah.
there's
Awesome World.
We're gonna do Awesome World.
No, it's not. Awesome World is now.
Awesome World is now.
Jason
Yeah.
Ellis show's coming in a couple
The
weeks.
Right,
Jason
right.
Ellis show's coming in a couple of weeks, but the Jason Ellis show Patreon is gonna open up tomorrow, and because we did a show today that's like a podcast show,
Yeah.
which is half a show to us.
Yes.
So I
Weird,
have
isn't it? Yeah.
I have much more.
Yeah.
So we were like, instead of waiting for next week, we're just going to do the Patreon this week. So we're going to do these. We're going to do 3 recorded podcasts for when the Jason Ellis show comes out to podcast world in the next couple of weeks. Don't worry. You're going to know when it
All right.
drops.
All
I'm
right,
going
fair
to
enough.
I'm going to have everybody and anybody that I've ever known push this onto you all. So
And follow Jason at
Wolfmate on Instagram and Ellis Mate on Twitter.
Greg is asking here. I'm looking at the restream, all the chats out there. Something about you arguing with Robin on Stern, and they're blaming. What happened? You too?
I always thought.
Are we both in the shitter with Robin?
Well, I always thought. Well, you know what? I mean, no disrespect, but fuck her for trying to say on the stunt. She tried to say that I was a bad parent.
When?
And there was no fucking sarcasm in it. She was like I think Howard asked me if I thought I was a good father, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, how can you really be a good father if you've used all these drugs and alcohol and lived a life that you've lived? And it was sort of out of left field, and I was like, wow. And I remember thinking, you're not triggering me, but I am going to put you in check a little bit. So I made a couple of jokes as to, at least because, her dad
Yes, diddled her.
Yeah, diddled her pussy and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, I'm not your father, Robin. I haven't done anything to you, so I don't know why you're doing anything to me. And then a lot of people reached out.
How did that go over, first of all?
She shut the fuck up. I put her in check hard, and I laughed it off like it wasn't an actual argument. But at the same time, I am a father, and you just did tell me I'm a bad father. Anybody out there, a dad, get somebody to yell at you that you're a bad parent on the Howard Stern show in front of millions of people. Am I?
Let's
am
talk
I
about
perfect?
It.
No.
Let's talk about it. I've seen you with your kids, and I've seen how they love and admire you. And what I would say to her, if I were talking to her, I'd say, yeah, probably made him not a great husband. But, but yeah. And it got in the way, and it ruptured that a little bit. But he always put the kids, he kept all that from the kids as far as I could tell. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm good friends with my kid's mother. So how crazy am I if we're all good? Because a lot of people can't say that when they get divorced.
Not only
we care
that,
about the kids before us.
Yeah, you did do that, and I would say that the person that suffered the most during that whole period was you. You were very depressed during all that.
Yes.
Yeah,
very tough times.
Yeah, and maybe that affected your performance as a father. But anybody,
I question that too. I definitely question that.
But listen, if you
getting
had
divorced is not good for your kids.
not great for them.
We're already
it's okay. But you're paying attention
but
to
a bad
that.
parent is a different thing.
It's a very different thing. And again, listen, let me finish the thought though about the depression. Millions of people have depression while they're parenting. You know what I'm saying? And millions of people have all kinds of medical conditions. We shouldn't think about the brain ones differently necessarily. It all affects our ability to be high-performance parents we want to be. It's the way it goes. It's life, man. That's it. That's
the biggest tell for me is my ex-wife is a really nice person. We're not the same people at all, and I put her through a lot with my penis and all that kind of stuff. And just not, you have to deal with it. My father and my brother died when we were together.
Oof.
I was not
I didn't know
there. Like I was, I was coping with addictions and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not a time to have kids, which, yes, once again, you can imply not the greatest parent, but like actual when the baby popped out, like what my mindset, what my work is, what my track record is, you can go and ask my ex-wife, who should hate me. She loves me because she knows that I'll die. Like everything revolves around the children.
Yeah, and I've seen your kids, and they are phenomenal people.
They are great people.
Yeah, they are.
Very proud.
Yeah, you should be. And so,
but yeah, that did happen, and yes, I did make a remark back in a with friendly manner, but I definitely felt
do you think
the social media thing of people attacking her and telling me, which means she would have felt that after the show, and I thought that was because that was the last time I was on. I thought maybe that was the reason.
The reason you got fired?
No, the reason that I didn't go back on the Stern show. And I had a new book, and they were like, "Yeah, nah," and I'm like, "Wait, yeah, nah, I'm the Dick Eminem guy. What the fuck? You guys flew me out for George to touch my wiener. Now I can't. Now no. Like I thought we were wiener buddies for life. You know what I mean? Like when I put your dick out like 3 to 4 times on someone's show,
yeah.
and then you get a new book.
Yeah.
You have me back in.
I heard that episode, as a matter of fact. And George Takei was you listened to, Susan? George Takei was
not playing.
He was not playing. He was into it. Yeah.
Everybody else was ha ha. We're doing funny radio. George was jerking me off.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Let's get a couple questions in here, if you don't mind, Jason. This is from another Jason. Jason, go ahead there.
Hello,
Jason.
Jason. Uh-oh. Is he on Zoom?
Yeah.
No, it's
weird the way we're getting the Mark Geragos effect all over the place. Try again, Jason. There you go.
Are you there?
It's probably on his.
Well, this is David Charles.
Oh, well.
David?
All right, David, go ahead. It says
that's why it's not Jason.
maybe it's a question for Jason, but go ahead.
That's what I thought.
David, I see you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hi, nice to hear you, Drew. One question is with this vaccine coming out, and I heard you're going to take it as soon as you can get it.
Yeah.
It basically boosts your antibody response in order to let you fight this thing off.
I mean, the reality is your immune system is very complicated. The cartoon version is you send in this strip of RNA. It goes into the cytoplasm, not the nucleus of the cell. It binds to ribosomes. It starts building viral proteins that they then release out into the blood. And those proteins are what your immune system sees, creates a bunch of antibodies against, then takes those proteins back to the lymph nodes and builds an army of memory cells left behind to respond next time it sees that protein.
Man, we're good.
Yeah, that's how it works.
The human body.
Okay,
I mean.
so based on that, they have these antibody tests for IgM, IgG. Would that, if you had vaccine, would that be activated if you by taking one of those tests?
I've been talking about this Additics team I'm working for a while, and I went there and had a more comprehensive antibody screen. You actually produce antibodies against a number of different proteins on the virus, including a nuclear capsid protein. And it turned out I was producing antibodies to one of the coronavirus proteins, and it might have turned my general antibody screen positive. However, the more sophisticated screen showed I did not have immunity. I don't have immunity. So yes, antibody tests will go positive, but they go up and they go down. That's just the way it works. That's the way all antibody sort of reactions work. And the question is, once it goes back down, is there what's called cellular immunity left behind with adequate memory and adequate power to respond if you're re-exposed? I think I can say with pretty good certainty, if you've had the illness, you're good for a year. If you had the vaccine, you're good for a year. And some data on the SARS coronavirus 1 suggest if you had the infection, you may be good for 17 years. So there's a lot of evidence that there's a sustained immunity. We'll see. We don't know for sure yet. And this is for you. This is for you, Jason. This is
that last one was not for me. Just say
TJ. This one is for you, TJ.
Hey, how you doing, Drew? Ellis, Nate, how you doing?
Hey, man. Good, thanks.
Hey, first of all, your set looks amazing. I was excited to see your test show last night.
Thanks.
I just wanted to say that, Jason, you've become such an inspiration. I do a lot of ultra running, so, I'm stupid and I run long distances out in the desert.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I went on a run, and I usually don't listen to things when I run. But yesterday, I was so excited about For Your Awesome World that I put it on, and I ran the best training run I ever ran. So the inspiration that you provided was awesome when you were talking about harden the F up and tell people you love them and everything like that. It really got me going. So I appreciate that and all you've done. All you've done for the past 10 years.
Let's talk about
man.
that. Let's
I appreciate you listening to it.
I hear a lot more men, particularly, responding to. You tell me if this is a thing that's happening, and TJ, I want you to help us too.
Yeah.
A lot of Navy SEAL, inspirational stuff, and don't be a pussy. And a friend of mine is an Army Ranger, and he said before he jumped into Fallujah, said to himself before he jumped out of the plane was, "Don't be a pussy." It's like there seems to be more of a we become so. I don't recognize this anymore, and in response to that, there seems to be a very strong reaction the other way. No.
Yeah, to me,
No,
go ahead, dude.
TJ.
I was going to say, in my case, I'm actually a pretty sensitive guy, but
I'm not saying don't be. I'm not saying being insensitive or being hyper masculine or toxic masculine. Right? It's just live with purpose, live with intention. You know what I mean? I sort of feel like that's what it means. Or you can make it mean anything you want. But what do you say, Jason?
Oh well, I think initially you could be doing it for the wrong reasons, but in the end, to stay in it for a long time and be good at things that are dangerous.
When you were doing the pod, what were you thinking? What were you thinking about?
Well, I can't lose. I can't.
Okay.
So that's what I'm thinking.
So you're thinking
I can't get sad.
You're thinking just suck up.
I had a cry. So
Yeah.
I think maybe 2 or 3 days where I could cry a couple of times. I went downstairs, had a cry by myself, so my wife didn't hear me. And then I went to the beach and I do what I do. Like when it's all over and there's no tomorrow, I build a new one. And I told myself, it's probably, I expect the worst. I expect everything to be terrible and a lot of work to be done. And I'm ready to I'm ready to go to war. I'm ready to do anything. I'll do 1,000 shows. I'll not sleep. I'll do whatever. I'll do everybody. If anybody wants me to be on the show, I'll do that. If you want me to be a co-host, got any other ideas, I'll do it. I just beg for the funny to come out. Like, please be entertaining. Please have enough people to give a shit so that I can.
But let's drill into what TJ was saying though. He says you were an inspiration to him by talking about that suck it up kind of feeling.
Yeah, you know what? I know what he's referring to, but it's suck it up. But it's not always harden the fuck up. And I know I said that in there as well because there is certain times where you just to me the motto of hardening the fuck up is perfect. There's certain times where the answer is that. It's a perfect answer to when you're knocked down and things are tough. But there are, like you said, TJ, you're an emotional guy. So am I. So there's times where you have to know who you are, and you can't just hit the harden the fuck up button all the time. It's over the top. It's hard. You mean like if I'm just a maniac all the time and I'm fearless all the time and get out of the way, I'm gonna jump at first.
Yeah.
You're an unbearable human to be around.
Right.
So I need both. When the time's right, turn it up. If you want to go to war, I'll show you one, man. I'll show you like serious shit. But for the rest of my day, I'd like to be approachable, and fun loving and love my friends and family. That one is like even more important to me.
I think that's why TJ responded to it. Is that true, TJ?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I think because he's the same kind of guy, and that's his point. But that's kind of my point.
People are emotional.
But that's kind of my point is that we have to balance these things. We become all this or all that. Now I think there's a little. The famous philosopher Hegel had a theory that we go one direction, then another, and then make a synthesis. Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of liking about this is that we got so hysterical and emotional, I almost didn't recognize this, and then a part of us needed just to harden the fuck up. Not all of us, not the absence of everything else, but occasionally just we need to.
No, it applies more than ever. What I'm going through right now, first of all, so is a lot of the rest of us. A lot of us lost their jobs. Yeah. So you're all in the same pocket as me. Yeah. And as a guy that's been down and done both, I've used both. I've been really, really sad And I've done it in skateboarding where I lost it all and I was into grunge and I was doing heroin and I was like, it's all over. I may as well die. And I tried that angle and that didn't work out. That was a bad angle. Note to self, don't go down that road again. Whenever I've done well in life, I've been high-spirited and knew that I was impossible to defeat at whatever it is I was doing. I knew it. Not, I think I can get... Nah, I know I'm there. I'm already there. It just, you haven't got the memo yet, but I'm already on top.
I love that.
That's the only way to look at it. And now that I've done both,
you should think about that.
Which one you get?
You should talk about that more. That kind of knowing thing is kind of an interesting thing.
You have to.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Chills. I start to like get teary-eyed. Like I'll go to the beach and I talk to the, you know what I mean, to my brother, the cosmos, whatever it is, everybody out there, everything, all energies. And I beg for the power to do the right thing. Yeah. Like to the point where I'm fired up. And that doesn't happen when you've got a job.
It's true. I had the first time I experienced something like that, I was playing high school football and we'd come back from this great deficit on a football game and there was like 5 minutes left in the game and we'd kept this team back in their own territory and it was time to punt. And I just knew I was going to go block that punt. It was already a foregone. It already happened in my head. Yeah. I didn't know I was also going to make a touchdown with the ball and stuff, but I knew for sure I was going to block that punt. It was going to happen. Yeah. And all of a sudden it happened. But my thought was, and I don't think it's a distortion because my thought was so clear. Yeah. Like it's going to happen. Now, it could have been some 350-pound guy there that got in the way of it. It could have happened also, but it's those moments where you're just sort of knowing what you can do. You're seeing it ahead of time. Those are pretty powerful moments.
Yeah. No,
you should talk about those more because I think people would benefit from that.
It's kind of on the nose. It's hard to not talk about that now.
Yeah. Brady.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Gotcha. Yep.
Okay. First of all, Jason, I'm so happy to hear you back on the air again. I watched all your live streams so far. You guys practicing with the guys. Everything sounds so good.
Awesome.
I was so devastated. My wife actually got me flowers when she broke down the news to me because I don't have social media.
Oh, no.
I had no idea where you guys disappeared.
Oh, no.
And I actually work operating heavy equipment. I'm not allowed to have a cell phone or anything like that with me at work. I used to record all your Sirius shows and transfer them to a data stick so I could listen to them on the largest truck in the world. And I always thought it was so cool that I get to listen to you and operate this giant piece of machinery. But I was wondering, I do that for 12 hours a day. And hopefully, if everything goes well, I was wondering if you're considering doing a longer format again, an hour and a half a day from 12 hours. I could listen to you all fucking day. So
sort of more Rogan-esque, long-formy stuff. You should turn the Awesome Show into that.
It's easy for me to do that. It's just a matter of I live in a podcast world where they said right now they do one and it goes for an hour and a half. But they said if everybody asks for it, then that's what we give them. So in a perfect world, if everybody's like you and they want like hours of content 5 days a week, well then that means I have sponsors for 5 shows a week. And that means that we make tons of money. And then I know if I go, hey guys, did you know that if, you know what I mean, we could just do this and everybody would be happy, then we'll do it. But on the other side, dude, even if we do Patreon shows and we do that show and Tully has a show and I have my own separate show and I do another one with Tony and Kevin has a show, if you have a smartphone, you have a lot of content, and that's worst case scenario. But I'm with you. I think that SiriusXM people that have come to see us would rather that we did more shows, and we are self-sufficient as of this morning.
It's great. Brady, thanks for that call. 2 quick comments, and we're going to take a little break here. Dunn9977 on the stream. You've got into the Johnson & Johnson vaccine trial, which is an excellent vaccine. I signed Susan up for it because I figured that's the only way she's going to get the vaccine sooner than later. I signed up for it myself. I may actually go ahead with it because the vaccine rollout is so incompetently managed in Southern California, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get access to the vaccine before February or March. Everything I see, yeah, it looks bad. It looks bad. So I may just risk getting the placebo and get on that Johnson & Johnson vaccine trial myself. The J&J vaccine is a more traditional vaccine. It's more like other vaccines that we're accustomed to. So the mRNA is sort of a new technology. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is sort of an old-fashioned vaccine, and it looks quite good. It looks quite good. The other comment I seem to have forgotten. It was for you.
Uh-oh.
God.
I have to get tested every week. Do you have a hookup on that?
No, I don't. You can buy the stuff at Walmart, though, now. You can do a rapid test.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, shove it up your nose and then it tells you the answer?
Essentially. Not quite that simple, but let's look up Walmart COVID test and see if you can just buy it online.
There's some pop-up
and
place
Susan,
near
we
my
should
house
get it
and
if
it's
that's
like
the case.
$200. I'm like, man, I don't want to do this every week.
Walmart COVID test.
Walmart.
COVID testing kits, walmart.com. There it is. Just look right online. At-home COVID tests.
How much are they?
Shop now.
I'm just going to buy a bag of those.
Yeah.
Wait, it's instant?
It's fast, yeah. You don't send it in or anything, to my knowledge, or maybe you do. Maybe you have to send it in. I don't know.
I need to do that.
Shop now. Why didn't it come out? Oh, here it is. They're different tests. Standard, Express.
Yeah.
So they go between $100 and $135.
All right.
First I'll have to look into this, see what we got here. This looks good to me, though.
That'll work. It'll work out.
Yeah, well, during the break, we'll look at it. And then I'll think of it during the break. It was something to do with you and where it's going to show up or something. I'll think about it. All right, here's the deal. We're taking more calls. The number is still 984-237-3739. I see you guys on the thread here. I'm watching the screen as we go. I have people sending in super chats just to make the ding sound for you.
Wait, yes, that's what it's called. It's called a super chat.
Yes.
You're supposed to say their name, right?
Yes, flipping birdies.
Dude.
Flipping birdies is
Show them
very.
your nipples, dude. give them what they want.
It'll have to be my nipples. Okay, so.
Whoa.
So,
yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
So it looks like 24 to 48 turnaround.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Well, good. So we can do that for the
test.
Garagos Christmas.
Okay.
Right?
A very Geragos Christmas.
Yeah. So maybe we should get a few of those.
They have 2 elderly people living at home.
Yeah, we should really seriously do it. I'm not kidding.
What about hazmat suits?
What about it? You want to do that in Christmas?
Well, I gave Kevin one to wear on the show today.
That's fine.
and a big skull gas mask.
The big.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
good.
and then make him wear a mask underneath. And
Yeah, he said it was very hot in there.
yeah,
I didn't feel sorry for him.
Again, I'll watch you guys on the thread. We'll get you calls, and we'll get the great Jason Ellis in here.
The great.
That's right. And we'll see you after the break. As we're gradually moving back to opening schools and businesses and, of course, our in-person interactions, I want to remind you, this is all time with cold and flu season getting going. Staying hydrated is key to helping your body deal with the added stress and with the upcoming flu season. My regular fans have heard me talk about a product called Hydrolite for a long time now. It's an amazing rapid rehydration drink. It's a mix that, well, we're obsessed with here. I'm excited to announce they've just released Hydrolite Plus Immunity, just in time for cold and flu season. Hydrolite Plus Immunity starts with their fast-absorbing electrolytes and adds a host of immune-boosting ingredients. Each single-serve, easy-pour drink mix contains 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and 300 milligrams of elderberry extract, creates what is hopefully immune-boosting formula that's high in antioxidants and zinc. Combining this with Hydrolite's 7 key electrolytes, it's a fantastic way to stay proactive and properly hydrated. Hydrolite Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy-to-pour powder sticks that rapidly dissolve in water and make a great tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink. It uses all natural flavors, and it is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, and it is vegan. And you can find Hydrolite Plus by visiting hydrolite.com/Dr. Drew. Again, that's HYDRALYTE.com/DRDRW. And be sure to use our code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount. We're back. You see Mark Geragos' picture up there. We have a little cliffhanger with him. He's gonna come back Friday, Susan, is that correct? And he's going to tell us what it is he plans to do in terms of his suit towards the state.
Within the next 48 hours.
Okay, so he apparently, and we'll have more information about what it is.
It's like a COVID
doing.
test, you know. You'll know.
Gotta wait 48 hours, but he really is going to town with this. He is not stopping. He feels the state is
He's suing
become rapacious and unconstitutional, and capricious, and they've said it themselves that they have no basis upon which to make their decisions. None.
Well, I
It's
think
the most ridiculous. Listen, the scariest thing somebody can say in medicine is, I have to do something. Because that's how people kill patients. That's how they make medication errors. That's how they do things that I did many years of teaching, and that's the one thing I would kill the residents about. If they said, I just had to do something. If you do anything, show me the literature that substantiates what you did. And I'll look at it, I'll read it, and we'll talk about it. But if you just do something, I'll kill you. I'll crucify you, because that kills patients.
Well, one of the things that they were correlating in the court thing when we found that thing on Twitter was that they were trying to figure out how outdoor dining was related to ICU beds. So it was not correlating. It was
correct.
Just, it wasn't making sense. That
is very true. That's what the county was making that case, and the judge was saying those are nonsensical. There's no logical association there. So anyway.
I mean, there's a lot of bars in place that were spreading COVID, clearly, but it's probably a younger group of people. It's not, those that are in the ICU. I don't know. I'm just going to say.
We're going to get Kristen in here to talk to Jason. Kristen, go ahead.
Wait. Sorry.
Hold on 1 second, Kristen. 1 second. Mrs. Pinsky made a technical error.
Yes, of course I did.
There you are.
It was all me.
Go ahead.
We muted you for a minute there. Sorry.
Kristen.
Wait.
She was here. I heard her for a second, and now she's gone again.
There you go.
All right, Kristen, you should be on now.
Hi there.
There you are.
It's weird.
Kristen from Wisconsin.
Hi, Chris.
How are you guys?
We're good.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Hello. I'm so happy to be on the phone with adults. Jason, it is really nice to hear your voice.
Oh.
And I've asked this question more than once, and I apologize for the repetition. But I know that you have kids, and that this time has obviously been difficult for adults and for kids. And when you mentioned before that you were having a good cry, I understand that. I was crying in my basement next to my radio saw the other day just because I was so frustrated. And I guess my question for you is, how do you manage, the feelings that you're feeling as an adult, but also, balancing that out with trying to be mindful of the feelings of those around you and the kids around you? I'm asking just because I'm looking for any advice I can get, because I have 3 kids myself, and I'm not perfect, but any advice?
Well, let me refine what I think for Kristen, because we know Kristen.
I understand what she's saying.
But let me just, if I can bring in a frame here, because we know Kristen, she has been struggling with, she wants to be a perfect parent.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Right. And being stuck at home with your kids, I mean.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So how do you balance all that? How do you do the best you can?
You got to realize, if you have kids, that your kid has to learn that nobody's perfect. And so when you fuck up, nobody's perfect. Mm-hmm. It's different. It's to be different if you maliciously fuck up. Who got yourself a real problem, and maybe you should check yourself. Mm-hmm. But if you make if you have an accident but your intentions were pure.
She thinks she yells too much. I think that's
okay, that I can relate. I have a temper. I also, if I yell, it's worse than most people's yell, because
scary.
My temper. Yeah,
you got a wolf on your head.
I worked hard to look scary. That's right. So when
that makes me feel so good.
Right, but I have noticed when you made me realize that when it comes to tough times, to me this time, my kids are old enough to know that I got fired. So I've had conversations with both of them about it, and it's definitely sad, and it's definitely an emotional thing to know that they know. I don't want them to worry about me, or worry about themselves. Are they worried about how they're going to be later on? Am I going to have any money for them and stuff like that?
No, you don't.
I don't want them to worry about any of that. But they're looking at me to what do you do when tough times show up? So to me, it's a blessing. I'm in a position to show my kids
resilience.
That you don't, when shit gets bad, Like I get happier and more motivated, and they already know that I know that this podcast is going to be gigantic.
Well, not
so
only
they're
that,
not worried.
you didn't hide your fears and
they both know
grief.
that I'm terrified too.
Yeah, fears and grief were present for a while, and then you adjusted. You're resilient. And I find it now ironic. Kristen complains a lot that she needs adult contact, and yet when she had a job in the world, it was costuming all the Ronald McDonalds on the planet. So
I can't believe you remembered that.
Wow, that is a weird job.
That is an amazing job, and strangely
There's a lot of them in Australia.
non-adult.
Very nice guys.
Good to know. Maybe that's what happens if the podcast fails. Huh? I'll give you a call.
All right, Kristen, we'll talk later.
To be honest, we'll talk about that later. Thank you guys so much for taking my call.
Wait, we both
everyone, and be
hang
happy.
on. We both hung on that. To be honest, finish that thought.
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, I was going to say, to be honest, every single guy I worked with who played Ronald McDonald, they go by Toms, and they all lost their jobs after it came out. But they were all really, really wonderful, wonderful guys, except for the lead guy. He was one of the biggest assholes I've ever met in my life.
So if the McDonald thing runs out because it's huge, couldn't you just jump from McDonald to it?
Oh, could you imagine Pennywise showing up at kids' birthday parties? I think it's hysterical.
Yeah, sorry, I would.
No, I think she should
have wanted that.
She should flip to ICP. Is what she should flip to.
Don't do that.
So let's talk to Leopold real quick. Leopold.
Hey, Dr. Drew, this is Leopold Brodsky, and wanted to point out something earlier that you had talked about with Mark Geragos. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take it from a different angle. I just posted something on Local regarding Governor Newsom. He got $3 million in PPP loans. And how can Californians take anything this man says seriously when he's getting paid off $3 million in PPP loans and telling the whole state to quarantine when he's out feasting with friends and violating all the rules? And that goes to yet another point, and I'm going to kind of out you, Drew. We want you for governor. So how do I get on your? How do we get you on the? How do I get on your election committee?
You're going to have to make a strong appeal to Mrs. Pinsky, because that's the main threshold.
Well,
I'm like in now. I'm just like, fuck this guy. Okay, sorry.
Right.
That may not get him in, but.
Exactly.
I'm finally falling into line.
Well, let's see what Jason said, because Jason gave it a big sigh here, Leopold. So let's hear his point of view.
Oh God.
Yeah.
First of all, what's that money? What's that mean again? PP.
It's a personal protection loan. It's a loan to keep the businesses afloat, and
What's so bad about him doing that?
They technically can be forgiven. What I don't know if he's asking for the loan to be forgiven or not. But here's the trouble.
It's a 1% loan, and you can only get $50,000 forgiven. But the rest is a 1% loan. If anybody's smart enough, they'll take a 1% loan for the next 20 years.
It's taking advantage of. Let's put it this way: he's sitting pretty while all the restaurant servers have no opportunities for any resources
works for him.
other than some unemployment. So it's so. This is what I've been troubled with from the beginning. If the LA County Board of Supervisors and the leaders in the state are going to make these draconian moves that destroy people, they should forego their salaries. Forget take a 1% loan. They should just forego their salaries for the duration that
What
the
about
state
other
is
people
suffering.
that don't have restaurants that are? What about? I heard that motorcycle companies are selling more than ever right now.
Yeah, there are
Should
people
they
that
not
are
take
there
their
are
money?
people that are no. I think people
So
should.
why can't he take the money that?
He can.
He has a job. If someone else has a job and I don't have a job, you should still be able to keep your job. If you get a raise, good for you. If you figure out a way to make more money from your job while I get fired, good for you.
I don't disagree with any of that, except what if you're the one creating the circumstances seemingly capriciously to affect hundreds of thousands of citizens in ways that you're not participating?
If he doesn't, maybe if it's malicious, then yeah.
Not malicious.
If he thinks that this is for the common good of everybody, which I don't know, I don't pay attention to, because I feel like they're all liars in some way. They've all at least lied to you a couple times.
That's true.
So it's hard for me to take any of them serious, but I don't. My thing is when somebody brings up, the only thing I even cared about in that conversation was that he went to dinner as well. And I keep.
Oh, he went to the French Laundry, the most expensive place.
Everybody keeps bringing up that somebody gives you a rule and then they go out and break that rule.
Right.
I don't care about that. I just want to know what is the thing that I'm supposed to really do, not Donald Trump thing. I want to know what you really have to do to keep everybody safe. I don't care if you went to a restaurant and you took your mask off. It's kind of like if everybody keeps showing videos of their side doing the right thing and the other side doing the wrong thing, then you guys can just keep fighting and not get to the real problem.
So I agree with you. So listen to it this way. So I was going to bring this up to Geragos when he was here. They keep using a sledgehammer because they keep using sledgehammers where they close things down, they lock people indoors, things that have never been done before in the history of medicine, and we have no idea if they work. And they do it without seemingly any concern for the effect it has on the many, many hundreds of thousands of lives. That's what I take issue with, as opposed to going in with a scalpel, as we've always done in public health. I brought this up to Susan yesterday. I said, when typhoid broke out in New York City on Manhattan Island in the year 1900, what did the public health officials do? Do you know?
I said, I don't know.
They found the source, Typhoid Mary, and they cut out the source, and they ended the spread. They found Typhoid Mary, and they ended the outbreak of typhoid fever. So, and by the way, they tried to isolate her. They had trouble doing it. Another outbreak occurred. They chased it, and they contained.
You're saying they could have done that with this?
I'm saying that in the African American community in Los Angeles, that population is doing better than any African American group in the country. They're 9% of the population and 7% of the COVID cases. Tell me why it's going so well, and let's reproduce that over for the Hispanic community.
You mean like for them as in recovery?
No, they're not getting much COVID. And when they get it,
they were getting more COVID.
That's the problem. Everyone's believing the press. It's not true. They are wait, hold on. Everywhere. Wait a minute. Everywhere else.
I barely pay attention, and I have to hear
hold
in
on.
The news lies.
I know. Well, everywhere else they are.
Being fine, it's more enjoyable.
Hang on, just a second, Jason. They are getting it worse most places in the country, but in Los Angeles, for some reason, not. So somebody needs to go in and go, what's going on? Why are things going so good? And then go to the Hispanic communities where it's going terribly and ask, why is it going terribly here? And see if we can figure this out and go in with our scalpel and freaking make a difference, as opposed to taking a sledgehammer, closing down millions of lives for I can't know. I don't see why. I don't know why. There's no reason. There's no justification for it. And if you'd like us to sort of say, if your position is, hey, we don't know what to do, we're going to do the best we can, we're going to get in here with you and forego our salaries too, well, then it's like, okay. I mean, it's like, all right, we're all in this together. As opposed to, I'm going to take a PPP loan, I'm going to go to the French Laundry, and you guys need to stay home.
He's a politician.
I know.
I don't understand why you guys are surprised.
You're right. Yeah, listen.
Honestly,
you're not wrong.
He didn't know how long
man.
it was going to go. He had to get a loan to pay all his business. He has wineries and stuff, so he has employees.
We think that's what he used it for.
But I mean, I used it for my employees and ourselves to pay the rent, and I have to pay back anything over $50,000 or whatever.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that but I'm also not telling people to close their businesses. Okay. I am.
Right. We're telling the opposite. We're trying to.
Be a way
I just don't know how pointing fingers saves anybody anything.
It doesn't. But you get my point about.
You're a doctor and you know other doctors and you have a lot more information that you know is sound.
Yeah.
I mean, you've made a mistake before.
Absolutely.
And so the rest of us, when I see. Yeah, that basically almost everything I look at on the news is a lie from one side or the other.
Yeah.
So it makes me
think.
It's
true.
Like I lost my job. I'm not in the restaurant business, but pretty sure if the pandemic didn't come, I'd still be fucking stoked.
Probably.
I'd be fine. They loved me. So I lost mine, and that might have come from some corporate dude might have made a decision that just made me lose my job.
Yes.
I got kids.
Yep.
So. But where's that guy? What's his nipples look like? What restaurant did he go to? Or I hate to say it, suck it up.
You know what?
Just
and
create, try to get, pandemic, man, podcasts are free. Everyone's pretty stressed. I could do that. You know, if I can't, I'm going to invent a new burger or so. I don't know. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep thinking. And that's what Americans should be thinking about. The news and the bad information and all the other stuff. You care about your friends and your family and you work hard. If things are bad, think of a new thing. Keep thinking of ways to get out of it because the strong will survive. The ones that crack in under all this shit, the ones that listen to the news and go, oh, my God, brain damage, those guys are hanging in there by a thread right now.
Yeah.
Everybody else that is a little, maybe even being a little clueless kind of helps right now because you're not going to live in a bubble. You're going to have to go to the supermarket to get food.
Yep.
Somebody touched something in there,
Exactly.
dude.
We can all go to Costco, but we can't sit outside and have somebody serve us
It's
lunch.
funny because I'm gullible. Like, I see that thing where they close the restaurants down, and I was like, oh. And I'm like, wait, I can't even go to the boardwalk now without wearing a mask. I'm like, oh. But
do it.
You could do it, but I just went along with it. I didn't get angry about it at all like some of the other people.
I get it, and I would not quarrel with approaching it that way. I just have this. There's so many hundreds of thousands of lives that are not going to be able to pick up and
I
do
know.
it. That's the part that's troubling me.
Well, that doesn't. I'm there. True. It doesn't. I'm not. I might be done.
No.
You don't know that. You don't know that. Everybody thinks they do.
You know that knowing thing you talked about. I mean,
well, I'm just saying it can go. It could go one way or the other.
Yes, we can all get in big trouble. Yes.
Everybody should just really still stay positive.
Oh, I agree with you on that completely.
Gibbering.
Hold
on.
It's just that the people that are making it so desperate for so many are doing it capriciously without evidence and then living their life, their best life. So you're right. We shouldn't expect anything else.
Because Kim Kardashian's not like doing a lot of political decisions, but she's living her best life right now, I can assure you. Yeah, they're having restaurants. Maybe the restaurant's closed and it's open just for them.
Yeah.
But they're living it too. Yeah.
All right, let me see if I can get some couple quick questions in here. Lauren, go ahead.
Hi there, Dr. Drew.
Hey, Lauren.
I wanted to get your opinion, although I kind of already know what it's going to be, about methadone for chronic pain.
Yeah. That is a prison from which people do not come out. They do not emerge. If you need some sort of chronic medication...
Kratom.
Well, if it's between kratom and methadone, I definitely I'll put cannabis, kratom... Cannabis and kratom against methadone any day, but if you're having bad enough pain that they need to think about methadone, use Suboxone. The pain community is finally using lots of that, and it's working rather well.
So, do you mind if I give you a little bit of background?
Sure.
So it's my mother-in-law, and she's finishing her treatment for pancreatic cancer.
Oh boy.
And she has
that's not chronic pain. That is acute cancer pain. That's very different. Very different. That's a very different situation. In that situation, methadone does become a potential. So does fentanyl. That's what fentanyl was designed for. Because pancreatic cancer is bad times.
She was very early, though. She was stage 1A, and she only has one chemo left. She's already had the Whipple. Now it's this sort of, kind of pain that's just kind of sticking around, and she's ending up with sort of depression as well.
Well, it sounds like that pain is mostly surgical, and it's not cancer, right? The cancer pain is what the methadone is okay for. Right. So we're talking about surgical pain. So again, we're back to, I wouldn't be enthusiastic about methadone. There's so many other things that you could put in place of that. And again, Suboxone is worth a try. It's still worth a try in a situation like that. Again, not for cancer pain, but for post-surgical pain, it doesn't seem to resolve that. That seems like a reasonable thing to consider. Alice, go ahead.
Hey, how are you?
We are
good talking to you.
You as well.
I was going to diverge a little from my questions. I thought I have another show-worthy thing. I know, like a lot of people, for getting really sick of the isolation and all that kind of stuff. I've basically been a little less careful. I mean, I still wash my hands, which I did anyway, and do that. But I'm really looking for people who are willing to break that so we can get together.
I share your frustration, and I feel the same way about the need for in-person contact. I feel very strongly that you got to have some of that.
I mean, Zoom meetings are just a nightmare.
They just they don't hold up. They've been great. No. They got us through, but they only go so far. I mean, I'm just telling you, spending time with people I'm finding to be exceedingly important. You can do it safely. You can sit outside. You can sit a few feet apart. You can wear a mask if you want. I mean, there's ways to...
I know. It's just getting colder here, and a lot of people aren't as hardy as I am. But it's horrible, and it's going to mess up people for decades to come.
I'm worried about
you hire me to go to your house, and I'll bring bug assault guns.
Jason,
and you can shoot
if you want me to hire you, you can hire me.
Hey.
I need a job desperately. I should be enjoying retirement, but I'd hire you for something.
Hell yeah. I'm available.
He's got a job. I don't know what. No, I need a job, and I'm so upset about it. But,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, your show's been great. It's been nice to have this web surf and then also listen to something.
Yeah, it's about building community. It's about us getting together. It's us being sharing together. We did a Zoom meeting on Locals last night, and I swear to God, we just chatted with a group of people for about an hour and a half or something. Yeah. And I
wanted to get on that, but it my Zoom messed up. It did a radio job I had messed that up, and it messed the Zoom up for Locals, and I'm sick of this because I really need to get on Zoom again.
Well, I got to tell you,
that's a great idea.
I had a really super busy morning with patients that was very depleting, and at the end of the day, I thought, wow, I was very effective, and I felt really good about it. I said, what's different? I said, oh, I was refueled by hanging out with people yesterday.
What's this thing you're doing?
Well, we'll tell you about it. It's all you need to do it too. You need to do it. It's Locals. It's another thing.
I'd
for
be
you to
dead
do.
if it wasn't for the internet. I mean, luckily it just had to happen in my lifetime. I'm so glad there was the internet because it's
give it a little plug.
Great thing.
Well, what's mine is drdrew.locals.com. Is that it?
Yeah, drdrew.com/locals.
drdrew.com/locals.
Locals. Or drdrew.locals.com.
drdrew.locals.com.
Sign up and you become a subscriber, and then you get behind the scenes stuff, and then
you can have differing. It's a community. Some of it is subscribed, and some of it is just people that follow, and some.
What do you do on there?
I do Zoom meetings and chats and follow people.
Well, we post things that when you put it on Twitter, you get shit from all the trolls. So we just put it there, and then also
we do other things opinions, things I want to think about and talk to other people about. I share ideas there that on Twitter I'd be like,
they don't censor your content, and also like the Casey Gates is one of the people on there, and he has Zoom meetings for the other people that are in our group, so they all sit down and chat.
It starts building its own little community. It's really kind of an interesting thing. It's very cool.
And then once a week we have all the locals on our show on the Ask Dr. Drew and let them come on the Zoom and just chit chat with Drew.
So we bring the Zoom, put them on the screen, everybody, and then stream our conversation with the Zoom group. Yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff you can do.
It's really fun.
I could do that.
Yeah, you could. I mean, this is what I remember a half hour ago. I couldn't remember, and now I remember what I wanted to ask you about, which is, isn't it incredibly freeing to use digital platforms where you're not worrying about an engineer, a radio tower, an administration, a sales force, all that infrastructure, just you directly to the people you want to communicate to.
It all seems
crazy.
Like the greatest gift I've ever been given.
Yeah.
There's just one last piece.
What's that?
Need to get paid.
Is everybody going to listen? That's the end of it.
Well, I'll tell you,
one part of me that I'm not at this guru state yet where I'm like, money. What is that?
Right, you have to make a business out of it. You have to.
Yeah, right. So to be successful is that's a big piece of this working to me.
Yep.
Yes. And it looks like it's because the freedom already I can tell. I mean, for one, I got a studio that has all my stuff in it. Nobody else's. Nobody else is allowed to go in it.
Yeah.
It's mine. It's in my house.
That's crazy, right?
That we're already off to a better start than we've ever been.
Right. Yeah. Good for you, man. Joe. Hey, man.
Perfect timing, Dr. Drew.
Okay.
I was going to talk about Locals since you did.
Okay, fair enough.
And we have our Zoom we had our Zoom party last night when you were on, and it was great.
It was really fun, and
really
I tell you, it made just sharing with people for a while. It helped me emotionally the next day. I was more effective in my.
You're an emotional guy too, huh?
Oh, bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better.
You didn't know that?
It's hard. You're pretty.
I noticed.
Even keeled when you're around.
I heard Stern talking about it this morning. He was like going, I'm fragile. I'm fragile. And I kept thinking to myself, yeah, that's an interesting way to describe yourself. It's because I get fragility. I get that.
I think knowing you're fragile makes you stronger.
Yeah, you can manage it. You can deal with it. It's like being an anxious person too. I know I have anxiety. It's like,
I always used to go with I do better if you're mean to me when you're teaching me stuff. So I've always been under the impression that when I can't do something athletical, I get angry and then I start bashing myself to get it done.
Yeah.
And then from years of noticing that other people, when I would do that to them, reacted in a negative way. And I was like, wow, it's what a pussy that guy must be. And then, 20 years down the road, I realized that you didn't actually want to hear that either. Like, encouragement goes a long way. It's actually kind of good, and you can get the job done even better.
Joe, I'm trying to get through a couple calls here, so I'm put you back on hold, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Thank you. Joe's a meteorologist. We know Joe too there was somebody else here that was asking. I'm sorry, you guys, if I don't get to everyone's questions. I feel, and I'm moving rather quickly through this. Okay, this is Chris. Wants to ask something kind of interesting. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
You bet.
I hope I could talk just and ask a couple questions freely. I really appreciate your honesty on Fox News recently, but as a doctor, you took an oath, and does it really make sense if you test a vaccine on 300,000 people, that doesn't prove it's safe for seniors who are frail and taking a lot of drugs?
So hold on. So it does. They were required to study all different populations, and they have to design in such a way that the numbers in which they study statistically bear out safety. So the fact is, that's how all medical studies are done. That's just how they're done in terms of testing products like medical equipment, drugs, medication, and or vaccines.
They didn't test on seniors that are sick in nursing homes?
I believe they had. I don't know about sick in nursing homes. That's an interesting question. I don't know if the sick in nursing home would get it, or if they might withhold it from extra frail, because people do get sick from this vaccine. Here's the thing about nursing home patients, Chris. The life expectancy is 6 to 18 months, right? That's the average life expectancy in a nursing home. So if you're trying to push past that, the doctors who are caring for those patients have to assess that risk.
Okay, well, I've got a video of Joe Biden in which he said 10 years ago that 10 million seniors are taking 10 or more medications right now.
That's
and
true.
It's poisoning them.
That not only is that true, not only is that true.
Buried it.
Not only is that true, but in terms of healthcare dollars, $7 for every $1 is spent in the last couple of years of life. And so the $7 is spent, $1 is spent on a 10-year-old for every $7 spent on the last year or two. Does that make sense?
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to say that, Dr. Drew, because you could be a real hero. That 5-minute video with President Obama and Senator Kent Conrad, that's from 10 years ago.
All right, we'll take a look at it. We'll take.
Are getting poisoned.
We'll take a look at it. Listen, polypharmacy is a major, major, major problem. Listen, man, I'm sympathetic to your point. Trust me. All right, my friend, we got to kind of wrap things up here. Let's give a review again of where you're going to be, what's happening. My head's swimming a little bit in terms of where I'm going to find you.
I don't know. People, I see the Awesome World podcast has like 3 different names. People are like, if you go on Spotify, if you have an Android, you can only watch it on Spotify. So if it was on iTunes, people can't do a 5-star review unless they have an iPhone. So I didn't know that. And Patreon, it's an Awesome World Patreon, and then there's going to be a Jason Ellis Show Patreon.
And now we're going to be Jason Ellis on Locals now, I'm thinking.
I don't think Locals is coming this week. I don't even understand.
Maybe we can get Caleb to hook up your website so there can just be a place to go and find everything.
Carol Bowman is asking.
That's happening.
Carol Bowman is asking, I forgot to mention this product, was mentioning, will my eye wand kill dust mites? Not that I am aware of. It is bacteria and viruses. 10
Hold it
seconds.
near your face.
10 seconds near my face.
Yeah,
Watch
so
your
Don't put
eyes.
it near your face. I'm telling
So
you.
people can
not on
see
your
it.
face, not on your
no,
eyes.
I don't mean on your
This
face,
camera,
but near
okay.
your...
This is it. It's a UVC light. It kills. I mean, really good for your computer. I'm holding it over the computer right
He's
now.
always holding it like away from his body.
Don't
So
point
there
it
it
at me,
is. There
Drew.
it is. I'm not pointing it.
That's
It's away
assault.
from
You see that, you guys? I just got assaulted by a freaking doctor.
But what I like about this thing, it's changed my behavior. I think forever. I carry this thing all the time, and it's like durable. I can put it in my pocket and
you
take it on
really love
planes
that
and things.
thing, huh?
I do love this.
Can
thing.
I do it over my food?
It's not for organic material. I'll look into that.
But your fork, maybe.
So that is you follow it. I want at Optic to find out more. At Optic, OPTEC, or go to drdrew.com/iwand. Use the discount code drdrew15. I think you get 15% off. That's the Dr. Drew 15, and this is great for Christmas. This is a big deal. This changed. I'm a big advocate of UVC light as long as you use it safely. All right, so I'm going to look for you at the Awesome Show,
Awesome World,
Awesome World
on all podcast thingams.
I'm going to predict that Awesome World is going to possibly be a longer podcast. I have this feeling that that's going to be the one where people that would just want to hang out with you are going to hang out with you for long periods of time.
When they're allowed to. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then the Jason Ellis Show, really, I'm going to listen to that the way I listen to the Jason Ellis Show.
That's how we're trying to deliver that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be great.
In time, everybody. I'm going as fast as I can. I just appreciate everybody's support. And when it all goes up, that's when I really need everybody, you know? So in the meantime, just know I'm working my ass off getting you some content.
And you will see me pushing it the hell out on Twitter and everywhere else. So happily do so. Catherwood can help you out with this too?
Yeah, he's going to be on. Great. We're having him on for sure.
We love him.
Yeah, the Jason Ellis Show always has Mike Catherwood. We have to.
Great. And those of you that are callers, sorry I didn't get to everybody. I can't do it. I always feel bad leaving somebody behind. But that's
I
the way
think
it
we're going to
works.
do Zoom with the locals on Friday. So anybody who missed it, sign up on locals, and we'll have the Zoom link available behind the subscriber wall for at Dr. Drew. And then you can also find it on follow me. I'm Dr. Drew's Crew.
And Joe Giannotti.
Or Dr. Drew's Screw, however that comes out for you.
Dr. Drew Screw. Drew's Crew. Joe Giannotti, who we were talking to a minute ago, wants to know where you can get one of those hazmat suits. Where can you buy the hazmat suits?
Yeah,
Jeff Bezos has them.
We could get
Amazon. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You should get them with your logo all over it, Jason, like with the hazmat.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I don't have the money for that right now, but he did not do very well in that suit. He got real sweaty and he started to regret it. So then we took him out of that, and I got him on all fours on the table and pulled his pants off and shot him in the balls with a bug assault gun. Because I bring the entertainment, Drew. Entertainment machine.
See, you could
bug assault. Bug assault.
Bring in the entertainment. You can't get enough of this. We're in your fucking face all day.
And I want to put that on our locals account. Yeah.
Locals.
Send me that clip.
I'm going to be on Locals as well. I'm going to be on Locals talking to him on Locals and on Twitter simulcast.
Like he said. We'll see you guys tomorrow around the same time for a dose.
Going for it, you guys.
The great Jason Ellis, everyone. See you tomorrow.